Okay, everyone, we are continuing. Sorry about the abrupt end of that video. And I was showing you the needle plate, and I'd cleaned the bottom of it. And the needle plate attaches to 2 points on the machine that are not a part of this. But the needle plate kind of rests on part of this. So this will make more sense when I go to put the needle plate on. Now, so you basically have an upper lid to the FreeArm cover, and then of course you have the rest of it looks like a long trough here. And you'll notice that there are screw holes, 1, 2, and then a third one over here. Whenever you're working on vintage machines, you always want to look at yours, because even within the same brand, whenever they would make changes in models and redesign things, sometimes they move stuff around. But for this particular model, this is what these look like. And I'm going to come underneath, and again, carefully making sure I don't, hit any obstruction, never force it, but it's going in quite nicely. Now, I kind of going to hold this. You could also put a rubber band around it, I suppose, if you wanted to kind of keep it still. And the reason for that, because if I let it go, it'll kind of fall. And I'm going to take my screws, and again, I have here the 3 screws that hold the shell to the chassis of the machine. These 2, of course, go on the far right, and then this one that's a little smaller, and I kept them in this formation so I could remember, goes on the end. Actually, I would have remembered because I've done work on this. I've done a number of these machines overhauls before, but you may not have. And so also taking photographs when you take these out is a really good way to not have to worry about forgetting. Now, I'm going to put 1 drop of oil. This is not part of normal machine maintenance. This is a restoration thing. And so it's just 1 drop at the base. And as the screws go in, it will feed the threads of the holes. And that way, in the future, it'll just be easier to get it to let go. So for now, I'll hold off on the one down here. Let's give you guys a little bit better view. Oh, my screwdriver tip. Okay. Now, since you can't really see whether the screws are in the hole or not, you have to kind of experiment, and you'll know because you'll feel it going into the threads where it belongs. So I'm just going to turn and see. Oh yeah, in fact, it didn't take much turning. We'll come over here, and sometimes when you're doing this, and there goes this one. And again, as soon as it's snug, I stop. If your screws are too loose, you'll know because your machine will shake them loose and you can always snug them again, but always err on the side of less, okay? Don't over tighten them because again, whether it's a piece of metal, if it's a piece of aluminum, which this is, or it could be plastic, a lot of times those parts break because people over tighten screws. So now I'll take this one and put it in there and, oh, so it fell down. Now let's see if it's lined up with the hole, because if not, it'll just spin. So I don't think I'm going to be able to see it through there. So remember, this can move a bit, so I want to kind of take my time and to make sure that I'm doing it right. Don't want to strip the threads, and I shouldn't as long as I'm paying attention. Okay, it's going down. Let's see what it's doing. I don't think it's lined up with this, with the hole it's designed to go into. So we'll just, again, this is an example, guys. As many of these machines as I've done, patience is important. If I rush this, I could screw it up. I could strip the threads or break something, and normally you won't if you're patient. Getting in a hurry is not compatible with sewing machine restoration. It just isn't. Now let's see if I can keep this screw, got to figure out where center is. And I'm going to try to hold it still. It's just 2 hands here, but like I say, some of you may find it helpful to use a rubber band to hold all of this still while you work on it. And okay, I think some of this you just do by feel, and you can see the screw is not leaning, and it's going down, and whoops, and it looks fairly snug. Let me test it. Yeah, there it is. So we now have our shell ready. The only thing left is the needle plate. Now the reason I waited to put the needle plate on, the holes for the needle plate are actually, they're off center and they're not part of this shell. They're not part of the lid or the shell. However, if you look closely, and I'll see if I can zoom in, maybe it'll pick up a little bit better. There we go. Notice that there is a lip. Let's turn this for you guys. You don't see it over here, but over here there's a little lip, and that is something that supports the needle plate on that side. I don't know why, but that's how the engineers decided they wanted it. Now, let's see. Oh, well, there again, I was trying to do it wrong. It was in the wrong place. How do you know? Look, guys, this is how they dummy-proofed it, and I'm the dummy. Watch this. Here are the feed dogs. Here's the opening. Don't be embarrassed if you do this. I mean, I just did it, and I'm going to show you on video that I did it. Now, now it looks more proper. Anyway, you just got to laugh at it, right? No harm, no foul. Now, I am also going to do with the two little tiny needle plate screws, put them in a tray where you won't lose them. If they go rolling off into who knows where, you really can't vacuum until you find them, or you don't want to have to hunt something like this down. Okay, and again, if this machine hasn't been opened up in a while, I'm just doing that little bit of oil there just to make it easier. So in the future, you know, you don't have to work hard. The screws don't have to work hard, you know. Metal on metal usually requires some form of lubrication at some level. You might even be able to start them with your fingers if they're lined up properly. That might actually be easier. I'm trying to take my own advice here. If you get one screw started, that kind of helps begin to line things, get things in alignment, and that theoretically should help the other screw find its place. Let's open the door here and give myself a little more clearance. There we go. I could have taken one of my screwdriver bits and just done this, and there it is. It's snug, it's good to go. Sometimes people assume that because a screw can be stiff and hard to get loose, that it was intended to be on there tight, and that's not the case. It's simply because old oil has turned into a kind of glue. So now you can see, let's back off of that. Now, of course, I can open and close my, my little door to the bobbin case. I have access to it. And again, the feed dogs, and these are really strong feed dogs, by the way. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 different sets of teeth there to grip. These machines are really known for their strong feeding, as are the Berninas. Okay, so I have already cleaned out and oiled the side compartment where the presser and needle bar are. And I've even put a little bit of grease on this little tension hinge to make its job easier. Okay, so there you have it, guys. There is the, basically I wanted to focus attention in this little series on why those details matter. When someone says, oh, you don't need to clean that thing, just fire it up, it's an old iron sides, that's not true. If you really want a vintage sewing machine to last, it deserves to have a servicing. Many of these machines have gone a long time without. And if you really want to extend their lives and help them, help you and allow the machines to truly be heirloom, an heirloom you may hand down to someone one day, let them have the service they were intended for. This is not some idea that someone came up with. They were always designed for service. New machines are not designed for that much service because their lives are typically not very long. Anyway, guys, I will be bringing you some more videos as I go through, as I think of things I want to talk about with this machine. So anyway, thank you for watching. And if you have any questions about how you should go about cleaning and preparing the all-important shuttle race and bobbing case area of your machine, put your comments down below and share your own experience. Thank you.